All right. You ready to go? I'm ready. You ready? Let's go.
To begin today's episode of Heavy Storms, I wish to read an excerpt from a song from Digimon the Movie entitled 1 Week by the Bare Naked Ladies. Enjoy. Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken, you have a drumstick and your brain stops ticking. Watching X-Files with no lights on, with Dollar Maze on, I hope the Smoking Man's in this one. Like Harrison Ford, I'm getting frantic, like saying I'm tantric, like Snickers, guaranteed to satisfy. Like Kurosawa, I make mad films. Okay, I don't make films, but if I did, they'd have a samurai. Gotta get a set of better clubs, gotta find the kind with tiny nubs, so my arms aren't always flying off the backswing. Gotta get in tune with Sailor Moon, cause the cartoon has got the boom anime babes that make me think the wrong things. How can I help it if I think you're funny when you're mad? Trying hard not to smile, though I feel bad. I'm the kind of guy who laughs at a funeral. Can't understand what I mean? You soon will. I have a tendency to wear my mind on my sleeve. I have a history of losing my shirt. It's been 1 week since you looked at me. Drop your arms aside and say I'm sorry. I can't believe you guys let me go through that whole thing. I was waiting for one of you to stop me.
You have a beautiful voice.
Thank you. Welcome to Heavy Storms. I'm Walter Holliger, David O'Neill, and Whitley is here as well. Zachary, I'm going to fuck up your last name. Perlmutter, I think it is?
Yes, it is.
And we're here to talk about Digimon the Movie, as you can probably tell by the fact that I just I just spoke. I guess you could almost call that like a word poemed, one week. So hey, what's Digimon the Movie about? Does anyone want to answer that?
Well, first we should give our basic histories with the movie, no?
Well, they don't even know what we're talking about because we haven't explained it yet, so we should probably first explain the movie that we're talking about.
Okay, so fine. So Digimon the Movie was a 2000 American release sent to compete with Pokemon, the first movie. And
they did it in the most half-assed, editing up, chopped up way they could have.
Basically, the movie isn't really a movie. It's more like 3 different short films merged together. And from what I've heard, Jeff Nimoy and Bob Buchholz, who were in charge of the voice directing, initially wanted the shorts to be released separately. But Saban said to them, no, we gotta be quick, we gotta compete, we're just doing it the way we're doing it, make do with what you got. So there you go. Who do we blame for this?
Like I just said, this results in the most hack job bit of editing I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah, but basically you can blame Saban for this one. You don't blame the voice actors, don't blame Jeff Nimoy and Bob Buchholz. Don't even blame the original shorts themselves. Blame Saban or Chaim Saban for merging these together in the most half-assed way imaginable.
I will blame him.
Who's the credited editor on this, though? I just really want to know that.
Probably someone you've never heard of.
And also, if that's not bad enough, they added like a 4-minute short at the beginning of the film.
Oh, I skipped that because it was annoying.
You are a smarter man than I am. That was fucking terrible. Okay, no. I watched this show growing up, so let me talk about this. The short is a 4-minute short from Angela Anaconda, a show that used to air on Fox Kids, where like everyone was like gray, and it was like actual like. I don't even know if it was actual faces or drawn faces. It was the weirdest art style. It was the weirdest thing, and it wasn't funny. It really wasn't funny.
And like every version of this movie has that in front of it, right?
Yes,
like
yes.
the US release.
If you get the VHS, if you get the DVD.
Yeah, but like of all the 4 parts of the movie, the Angela Anaconda short is probably the most insufferable because the show itself is really, really bad.
It's so weird.
I'm not even sure if anybody really knows what Angela Anaconda is.
I do.
I didn't.
But like the whole premise of the show is about this girl, this self-conceited girl who's in constant cahoots with a drama queen. She has these daydreams where she constantly imagines her rival in peril, who she calls Ninny Poo. And Ninny Poo's big tagline in all of these dream segments is, "Help me, help me, help me, Angela Anaconda." So what they did here is they just like to even go in further, I saw the original short that this movie was based. Sorry, that the episode this short was based on. They edited that too. It was originally a payoff to like the Sentai live action shows, but they made this into a Digimon tie-in.
Really, I will never understand why Nicki Minaj felt the need to write a song about her.
What?
I guess you really enjoyed the show growing up, but I'll never get it.
Oh, I think I just got your joke.
Yeah,
Bad joke.
it was terrible. I wanted to hurt people, and I really hope people did get hurt. I really do.
Okay. Then we want to like talk about our background on the film or whatever, like our history with it. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I liked Digimon. I watched this movie when I was a
Yeah.
kid, and I didn't think much of it at the time. And now I watched it when I'm adult, and holy crap!
Jeez.
But I do like Digimon still. Like I really like the video games. It's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine because I don't think they're well made, but I still really enjoy them. Ever since 2007, like I've been rewatching the Digimon series on and off. I'm 5 seasons in. I need to watch the 6th. And the 3rd season is still the best. The Digimon Tamers represent. But overall, yeah, it's a dumb kid show. Yeah, it was really about marketing more than anything. But I gotta admit, I like it as a guilty pleasure. So I really wanted to talk about this movie because I remembered liking it as a kid. But then again, when you're a kid, you really don't have a sense of what's good and what's bad. And by God, this was bad.
So I didn't have any history with it because I was a Pokemon kid. I didn't watch any Digimon. I didn't play
Blasphemer!
any Digimon. Yeah.
Blasphemer! How
this has
dare
been
you bring up the name of the fake Mon up in this Digimon house? I was totally
So you could say my
Pokemon
perspective
kid
is an
growing up.
outsider's perspective. My only real interest in this movie was that I'm a huge Mamoru Hosoda fan, and I probably butchered that pronunciation, but I love his movies. I love Summer Wars. I love Wolf Children. So I'd always been kind of interested since it was like one of his earliest works and it was like kind of the prototype for Summer Wars. So I was kind of interested in it for that. But yeah, I'm not a Digimon fan or anything like that. I never watched it or anything.
Okay. Whitley, I guess you're up.
So I'm like Walt in that I kind of grew up with this show. I actually remember like when the very first episode came on TV in 1999.
The first episode of the first season kicked ass. It was like, oh my God, there's a giant bug that's gonna murder everyone. Everyone Digivolved. As a kid, that was just the big pivotal, like awesome moment.
And it was really exciting because like I had seen Pokemon, but Pokemon felt like a more standard type of marketing vehicle. Digimon was more hip and cool. I think when I mentioned in my retrospective on Infinite Rainy Day, Pokemon was to Mario what Digimon was to Sonic. I remember when the movie came out in 2000, I wanted to see it in theaters and my mom would not let me. So I had to wait until I went onto video and I went to a friend's house and watched it there. I remembered enjoying it, but I didn't think much of it again like Walt because I didn't really understand a lot what was going on. Fast forward to about 2011, I think, or 10, when I saw Jessu Otaku's review of Summer Wars, and she mentioned Digimon the Movie. So I went back and watched it, and I realized, like, my initial reaction was, yeah, it's awful, but at the same time, I couldn't help but laugh at how ridiculous it was. I remember seeing, like, 2 reviews of the movie. The first one being some guy on the internet reviewing the film, saying that I think he said it was okay, and then Jessu Otaku and the Nostalgia Critic eviscerating it. And when I watched it, I felt kind of like a midway point between the two. And even watching it now, again, my thoughts have not really changed. I kind of feel a lot like... I remember seeing an article, a think piece on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just roll with me here. And the woman said that her reaction to Thor was that it was a really awful movie, but she had the feeling of laughter all throughout. And that's kind of how I feel about this movie, in that it's awful, but I constantly can't help but laugh at it. And we'll get into more about why, but I can't hate it because it's too funny to hate.
Well, it's wonderful to hear, Whitley. But next up, we need to talk about terrible anime memories, apparently, is what we're doing now instead of news. Because we are recording this about a month before it comes out, so we can't exactly do news. So I would like to start, because when I was talking to David before we started recording, I remembered just the most spectacular version of censoring I've ever seen in an anime, and that was Pupa. And I think it was episode 7, when the brother and sister are captured by a guy at knife point, and they're tortured, but the censoring is truly, truly abysmal. Because here's what they did. They missed placing the censor bar.
What, they missed?
They were supposed to censor the knife, and instead it was censoring the hilt. And and it was just like, they missed. They fucking missed. There's no other way to describe it. During torture scenes, you'd see censor bars on the side, but the gore is still visible because they didn't properly censor it. It's like, wow, how do you do that? How do you fuck that up? Because that's not something you easily fuck up.
Was it worse than the censoring in Terraformers?
I have not seen Terraformers, so I cannot specify, but let me ask you this. Did Terraformers censor what it wanted to censor?
It was hilariously, bad looking, but they did censor what they wanted to censor.
Yeah, there you go then. They didn't misplacing their censor bar. You actually need to fucking try to misplace a censor bar. Pupa missed the censor bar.
That's impressive.
Yes, they did. David, why don't you go ahead? Start us off. What's your terrible anime memory?
What should I try? I think probably just the most definitive I could come off the top of my head is I forget what the situation was that I ended up having to do it. I think I made an agreement with someone that if they watched something, I would watch something that they wanted me to watch.
Oh, never do that. That's the reason Jonathan watched Shuffle. Never do that.
I know he loves that. But yeah, and I ended up having to watch 2.
Hey, don't be disrespecting that. I tried it with somebody on Screw Attack, and he liked every single
thing. Okay, what did you get in return?
I had to watch classic movies from the 70s and 80s, like The Godfather.
Oh, why the fuck did you get the
Scarface.
one non-dick in this agreement?
Yeah, really, you got lucky.
If it helps, I only managed to watch A Beautiful
You didn't
Mind,
watch the...
which
Oh,
was okay.
you fucking casual.
Okay, but anyway, I had to watch 2 different shows. The first was it was I think 90s OVA called Apocalypse Zero, and it was this horrible
best anime ever. 10 out of 10, best anime.
Porn OVA with violence, and it was garbage, and I hated every second of it.
It's the best show ever made.
Have you seen it?
No. I think I clearly have seen it, because I know it's the best anime ever made.
It's not. It's garbage.
It's wonderful.
It's such garbage. I've tried to block it out of my mind, but I remember there was growing, there were scrotums involved, and fighting,
yes,
and exploding, and it was not fun. It was not a pleasant experience.
What would you say the skeletons they were about to comment on were spooky?
They were pretty spooky scary, I could say that. Okay, and the second show I had to watch was Master of Martial Arts.
Oh, that's not even worth joking about, you poor son of a bitch.
And that's perhaps the worst anime I've ever seen. It's kind of like Icky, how's it pronounced, Ikitosen?
Yeah.
It's like that, but even more horrible and offensive and disgusting. Especially the ending. But yeah, now I don't make those kind of bets anymore.
I want to make a bet with you later.
I actually watched part of Ikitosen.
You mean Master of Martial Arts?
Because it was on a stream on...
Or Ikitosen?
No, Ikitosen. Okay. I'm just to give it a comparison. I watched it on Jesu Otaku's stream back when she did streamings, and Ikitosen is pretty much just masturbate the movie. I'm almost waiting for the character to look at the wall, Hakufu to look at the wall, spread her panties and say, "Come on me, come on me."
I mean, yeah.
And I'm sorry to anybody who's listening to this who is a family member of mine. I'm so sorry I have to say that, but this is the reality of that show. But anyway, it's not even offensive as it is just really stupid. Master of Martial Arts, from what I've gathered, is absolutely mind-bogglingly
It's
horrible.
horrible. It's so bad.
And it's also for sale in the Funimation Classics.
Yeah! It's an anime classic, remember that.
I just hit a nerve with Stephanie, I know that.
Oh, it hit a nerve with me. I'm still so butthurt about that stuff. How like Michiko and Hachin and Mushishi end up as save releases, and shit like Martial Hearts ends up as anime classics.
Yeah.
So I don't actively try to watch bad stuff.
Oh, you can try, but you gotta run into one or two of them.
I do. I have a story, actually. I had, on Spaceman Hardy's stream, he was showing X the movie.
Oh, I saw that too. That was... Yeah, that's a fucking...
And, look, I have nothing against exposition. I think that it can be wonderful when it's done right, but the entire friggin' movie is exposition.
Yeah.
And not even interesting exposition either. I think 3 or 4 times I commented in the comments saying that film is a visual medium. Show, don't tell. You got brilliant imagery there. Use it.
That movie, you're right, it's all exposition. It is a beautifully animated movie when they actually fucking do something, though. It really is. And it shows the wasted potential of that film.
And then, I guess also if I want to go like on theme with this particular episode, I recently rewatched for the retrospective articles on Infinite Rainy Day. Last year I had watched Digimon Adventure 02 again, and I guess it's a combination of the fact that, like, for those who didn't know, my dad had a massive heart attack last year, so he wasn't feeling well. I was stressed, and just I had to watch this show. About 3/4 of the way in, I remembered why it was so awful, and it became a chore to sit through.
What about it is like so awful in comparison to other Digimon stuff?
Davis opened a noodle shop for one.
Well, no, I think it got to the point where the world tour. That was when it really like dropped the ball. I remember liking the world tour episodes as a kid, but like looking at them again, like I'm thinking to myself, they could not fit any more stereotypes about other countries in there. Like, I was literally waiting for them to go to Israel and then just meet an Israeli soldier and eat falafel.
Yeah.
They did not. I guess they didn't go to Israel for political reasons. That would have been kind of difficult. But like, I was waiting for that to happen, and it didn't happen. But like, all the stereotypes there were really, really painful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is very true.
And then never recovered from there.
All right, so I guess that's our bad anime memories. So now we get to the bad anime we're watching today. That's not a memory. It's actually happening in the present.
Right now.
So,
in real time.
This movie is basically made up of 3 chopped up movies. So here's what I'm recommending. Let's just go piece by piece, because I feel like...
It's actually 4.
If you're counting the opening
Angela
short.
Anaconda doesn't count. Shut up. We already talked about that, even though we probably shouldn't have.
It's not real.
Yeah, we officially denounce its existence. So this movie is made up of 3 parts. There's the Digimon Adventure, which takes place 4 years before the original series. There's...
I think it's called Greymon Attacks.
Oh, yeah, I figure. I actually think it's just called Digimon Adventure. Like, it's just simply Digimon Adventure.
Well,
You might be right. I don't know.
Attack.
We do know, however, that Our War Game is the name of the second part. That's the one where they fight against the virus Digimon in the internet. And then there's the third part, which I like to consider the axe murderer's victim. Is pretty much the best way I can refer to part 3. So let's just cover them in order. Let's start with Digimon Adventure, aka Joke Dub McGee.
So people don't actually know this, but this was Mamoru Hosoda's like first ever anything.
Really?
Yeah.
He did some stuff for the show first, didn't he?
No, he didn't. The show came out later. This was actually like a promo to the show. So I know he also directed an episode of the first season. Episode 21, I think, or 22. I'm gonna say this right now. The first short and the second short, which make up 2/3 of the movie, is by far the best animation I've ever seen from Toei ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's...
it looked really impressive.
No,
Yeah,
I agree.
all the
Here's the
Hosoda
thing,
directed
though.
stuff.
It's a far more impressive if you watch the original shorts. Here, it seems crammed into full screen, first off. So I feel like there was a ton of this movie where stuff was happening, like, off the side of the screens. Like, this isn't even just with the first part. This is literally every single part. It feels like there's something going on. Like, if this was a widescreen movie, I feel like we'd get a lot more of the movie. But I think we all watched the full screen version, so it just always felt like everything was going on cut off. And it also felt like there were weird filters. Like, nothing really everything looked a little... I don't know how to describe it. It didn't look right, but...
I mean, I also something needs to be pointed out here. This is good animation by Toei standards. Now, people often claim that the animation here is amazing and the movie deserved a better look, but if you apologize for this, it's kind of like this is to Toei what Chick-fil-A is to regular fast food. If you're referring to regular fast food, then yes, it's fine. But if you're looking at a diner level quality, then forget it. This is great animation by Toei standards, but by regular standards, it's not that great. I will point out, however, that it is filmic, which is a problem I had with Perfect Blue's animation. Perfect Blue's animation did not look filmic at all. This did.
I don't know about great, but I think it did look very good for like a movie of a toy franchise like this. It looked really good.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the. I always call Hosoda's animation very fidgety and wiry. Like, everything is constantly moving. People are always doing something even when they're still. But it looks kind of like his good quality animation, but it's not as detailed. Or at least the filter isn't as clear. It's not as easy to see. Like, this is Hosoda on a budget, which still looks pretty impressive.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
I will say that I did see the original shorts of all three of them. The first one did not cut it a lot. It made some dialogue changes, but it didn't cut it a lot. There was a scene where Ty's father comes home drunk that was cut out of the movie.
For obvious reasons, considering this is a kid's film.
And it's a cosmetic thing. I don't really mind that. They also tried to hammer in continuity stuff. Like in the original short, they did have Joe, Mimi, Ty, Kari, Izzy, TK, Sora, and I'm forgetting some, and Matt. But for the most part, they didn't know each other in the original short. They were just kids that lived in the neighborhood.
In the story of the original show, it's like, oh, we all saw this fight between Greymon and Parrotmon, and this is just kind of showing that even though they didn't know each other, they all saw the same fight.
By the way, in the original short, they don't even call him Greymon. They just keep calling him Koromon.
Yeah, the kids do. There is one point where Greymon himself says, "I'm Greymon now," which is supposed to be oh yeah, this is the big fight between two iconic monsters in the franchise. Or at least one. I don't think anyone knows Parrotmon. Which, by the way, Parrotmon sounded... This is getting a little off topic. Parrotmon sounded like a bad Iago impression. Am I the only one who got that?
He sounded pretty weird.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess the only other part that was really cut out was at the end of the original short. Ty is with his Greymon saying, "I remember that day. That was when we first became Digidestined." That was cut out too.
Yeah.
I also, if I have one major complaint aside from the continuity jabs, is that they kind of really messed up Kari. In the original, she was just a sweet, innocent kid who was along for the ride and didn't really know what was going on. Here, they kind of made her into an idiot.
Well, this gets back to the joke I made. This is called Bad Dumb McGee. So we haven't even really talked about the story of the short, and that is basically Ty and Kari end up seeing an egg come out of their computer one night, and it turns out this is a digi-egg containing basically a really young Agumon. Well, it starts as Bodamon, then goes to Koromon stuff, and so suddenly they've got this new pet, and they don't realize how dangerous it is. But it's basically just a story of these kids interacting with their first Digimon, you know, setting them on the path to be the Digidestined and all that. And it's obvious this is supposed to be a much more serious short than it was, but everything about the dub is like, there are so many, like, just off-screen shouted out jokes, and there are tons of bits, and all these kinds
Which, by the way, are fun.
Huh?
Which, by the way, are fun.
Sometimes.
You don't know good comedy. You're the one who told me From Up on Poppy Hill was one of the funniest for background banter, and then you're gonna go around and tell me this piece of shit was funny? I don't even know where your fucking sense of humor spectrum falls now.
It's funny in that it's stupid.
Well,
Fun, okay?
that doesn't count as funny, though.
Oh,
We're laughing at it, not with it.
Fine. But you know what?
I side with David.
People find Space Jam hilarious. I don't get that.
Well, that's
so
ironic.
Whatever.
Though. People don't actually think it's
it's not funny, but it's funny to laugh at. It's like
Okay.
Space Jam, along with this dub, is like the kid who just tripped and fell down, even though no one else tripped and fell down. And so we all laugh at him. We don't laugh with him, we laugh directly at him for being the dumbass that fell over.
But there are some great lines in here. Like, for example, the one part where the driver is like, "Did you see that? No, I was sleeping. But you're driving."
That was okay, that was actually really funny. Damn it, you actually pulled a funny line out of that. But you want to know something? When I describe lines that this sucking, you know what lines I'm thinking of?
What?
Polly want a cracker? A really big cracker?
Be a big
God.
cracker.
Yeah, you could tell that was just like completely.
Ty was following the trail of destruction in Diet Soda.
Yeah. Please don't blow that bus. I know my mom says they're always late, but they can't help it.
That was another terrible one. That was like so. It was too forced.
Well,
that was the
like,
big problem with that.
Even if it's not great, it's memorable, which I guess some people would argue is fine. Like, I remember the lines in this movie, which I guess is kind of embarrassing on my part, but I remember the lines in this movie.
I don't know. I remember a lot of lines from Transformers 4, but I wouldn't call any of them good writing.
Yeah.
I never said they were good writing.
Okay, yeah.
I
But you're
a
acting like
joke
we're
can
giving
be
it
funny
credit
and
where credit isn't really due.
Look, a joke can be funny and still be really, really bad.
But then it's not
Yeah,
really
but then it's
funny.
not a good joke.
A good joke is one that you're laughing with, not one you're laughing at.
Yeah, and this dub
Okay,
you're
fine.
laughing at.
Well, let's just put it this way. The movie is so stupid it's actually funny.
Okay, yeah, it's unintentionally funny.
To a
due
degree,
its
yes.
ineptitude.
We'll cover more of that. But anyway,
Yeah.
as far as there was one actual moment where I got choked up. And I think this was the original movie Bleeding Through, when Greymon gets knocked out and Kari starts crying. I actually got choked up at that moment. I guess part of it is because it was like that in the original, and it was a great moment, like even separate from whatever the hell they did to the movie, where she just starts blowing her whistle and she starts coughing, and Ty says, "It worked for me," and then he blows a really loud noise. And it wakes him up. That was a great moment.
That was a good moment, although I feel like it would have worked better if the tone had been a bit more consistent up until then.
It would have
like, after all
also
the goofy
worked.
nonsense, it almost felt kind of out of nowhere.
It would have worked better as well. Like, I agree, it was a good scene.
Yeah.
It would have worked better if it wasn't followed up and it was like, wait, I'm not sure if I'm saying the right thing. If it wasn't in between two pop songs going on.
Oh my god, the pop song.
Which we're gonna have to talk about the soundtrack. It's all 90s pop, and you know what? Tama, I think, said it best, who sadly couldn't be here today. But he said that Doug Walker was right. You could play 90s alt rock bingo with this movie, and you absolutely can. It's fucking insane, like how dated the soundtrack is.
It's not even like 90s soundtracks. There are songs that were used in the show too that were in here as well. Like Let's Kick It Up and Hey Digimon, Hey Digimon.
They were still really annoying though.
I'm going digital. Completely
now
digital.
I'm invincible.
Wait, what the fuck did you say?
I'm going digital. Now I'm invincible.
Is this
It
what it's like?
absolutely is completely invincible. What are you talking about?
Is this what it's like when people who aren't Pokemon fans have to hear the theme song all the time?
Yes. It absolutely is.
Jeez.
I also want to mention that Kari is the narrator
Yeah.
in
Her
this.
voice acting annoyed me. It was so weird and
Look,
spooky.
look,
We
I
haven't
had
even gotten
immense
to Willis
respect
yet,
for
by the
Laura
way, and we
Jill.
still have 2/3 of this movie to get through.
I know, but I'm just gonna say, like, I as an overarching thing, I have immense respect for Laura Jill Miller as an actress. I think she really sold me on Kari. But when I'm watching this movie, like both times, I'm thinking to myself, okay, how many takes did it take for Laura to say this without bursting out into laughter?
Probably one,
Like-
because she's a professional.
Hold on.
Really, because there was one part where she says, like, this Koromon you expanded larger than Uncle Fred at Thanksgiving.
That's a bad
God,
joke.
once again, you just showed how
And it-
bad this dub was.
Uh.
All right, if I can break away so we can actually get back to talking about the movie, there is one part added to this in the English dub to try and connect all three plot lines that we first see in this first part, and that is the talk about Willis. And Willis is a character.
Who in the Japanese is called Wallace.
Wallace.
I don't care. I don't. I really don't.
That is
All right,
harsh.
so the
Ice
thing
cold.
is, what's going on? All right, whatever. You've made me completely lose my train of thought, and I'm trying to recover here. So thank you. So Willis is a Digidestin talked about throughout all three movies, even though his only real importance is in the third part. That's because supposedly he was the cause of the Diaboromon thing, which, Whitley, you've seen these three shorts separately. Is Willis actually an important part of part 2, or is he just added in post?
I think it was a post
Okay.
ad. I mean, there was a kid that was included there, but it wasn't Willis.
Okay, so yeah, Willis is just kind of used, even though not well, to tie
He's a
together.
catalyst.
Yeah, he's a catalyst
catalyst.
to tie all three stories together, even though he's only present in one. And so you'll hear about Willis throughout the first 2 parts of this movie all the time. You'll have no idea why they keep talking about this kid.
Yeah, and also they do time jump sequences.
Yeah, they do. And that actually leads us into the second part, which is, I believe in Japan it's called Our War Game, which is basically a Summoner's War prototype.
Summer Wars.
Oh, the
I
Patamon
said
in the room
Summoner
wants to
instead of
speak.
Summer, but yeah, Summer's War prototype.
The Patamon in the room wants to speak.
Oh, are you going to say
He's
that you were surfing the internet and you wiped out?
No, the Patamon in the room tells me that this was, even though this was the prototype for Summer Wars, the original short was not all that great anyway. They cut out a lot from it, but it just felt like another example of like, well, we're done with Digimon Adventure. How can we add to that? It felt like a promotional material for like the show that was just done for pure marketing, which is what the first short was also. And again, it is the best Digimon short out there ever. Again, thanks to Hosoda.
Yeah.
But it's still not great.
No, it's not great, but
I'm sorry.
it's the best part of this movie. It's the most fun you're going to have watching this
Yeah,
movie
yeah,
because I'd argue this is the one where the dub finally got funny, like laugh with it funny, because honestly,
Yeah.
some of these lines, they had to know how bad they were. Like the one I just read, I was surfing the internet and I wiped out. That, I'm sorry, I laughed so much I had to pause the movie because that was such a 2000s, like, just everyone's learning the internet still joke that it was wonderful.
Yeah, well, this is a very 2000s movie.
All right, but if I can,
It's
let
very
me
dated.
run over the plot real quick of Our War Game. So,
Okay.
after we deal with Digimon Adventure of Tai and Kairi, learning about
Kairi.
their first Digimon, cut to after the show, after they defeated the Dark Masters and saved the digital world and returned home, to find out that a virus has infected a Digi-Egg, and now this Digimon is eating all the data that's on the internet. Basically,
First of all, objection. Digimon are either virus data or vaccines, so it doesn't make sense anyway.
Yeah.
And the original one, it wasn't a virus. It was just that the Digi-Egg got corrupted. It wasn't a virus. It's like you know how something's like for example files, when you don't close them properly, they become like corrupted and then they mess up your computer.
Yeah.
These old computers with like floppy disks as well. It was kind of like this. In the original, that's what had happened.
okay.
And
Yeah,
So
okay.
did you really just interrupt my explanation of the
Yeah.
English dub that we're reviewing for something from the Japanese?
That's fine.
I'm so sorry.
All right,
It's
thank
fine.
you.
So sorry.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now then, back to what I was doing before I was so rudely interrupted. So this Digimon is now eating all the data on the internet. And so Tai and Izzy, along with later Matt and TK, get their Digimon into the internet to fight against who will eventually be Diaboromon. And while he has a cool name line throughout the whole thing, Diaboromon's a fucking awesome Digimon. Like, an awesome Digimon name. I really like this, and I'll tell you why. It had really cool action.
Mm-hmm.
The edits were not as obvious as they probably were in the previous and will be in the post story. And honestly, it was just a lot of good fun. I really feel like there's a lot, like I said, a lot of good action is really all this needed. From the very first fight with Agumon and Tentomon fighting Karamon, to them Digivolve. This is the first villain who thinks to attack a hero during their transformation sequence. And he continuously does it. It's like, this guy is the motherfucking most smartest shonen villain to ever live.
Yeah, I mean, to put it bluntly, there isn't. I mean, you gave a very basic synopsis, but anybody who has watched Summer Wars can pretty much guess what goes on here.
Yeah, it's very the basic structure of the story does line up kind of similarly, except shorter and with a bit less complexity.
You know, I mean, Meta and I had done a collaboration on Screw Attack about that, and I pointed it out.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It is. Do you not remember that?
Remember what, the collaboration?
Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
You remember I pointed that out? It was almost scene by scene.
I don't know about scene by scene, but yeah, there are a lot of scenes. Yeah, it lines up in some places. Yeah.
There are some pretty dumb jokes that are thrown in there.
I mean, I thought, if I can chime in, I actually thought this was the one short where the humor actually worked a lot of it. I really liked the running gag with the mom making weird food and his friend actually liking it. Stuff like that. I thought here the jokes at least on occasionally hit their mark, unlike the other ones where it just fell apart.
There was I think there was my two favorite jokes in this segment. One of them was actually in the Japanese, was the woman in the grocery store. She's like, brings your total down to 1,100,000 hot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what it says. That must have been really good.
That one was pretty funny too.
Yeah.
And the other one was when Ty was trying to get on the phones, and the woman on the line kept saying, our lines are currently busy, and finally she screams and says, "Did you hear me? We're busy."
That was indeed. The humor in this was a lot funnier.
The closest thing my grandma
When I think
had...
about that line, I feel bad for those old human telemarketers who would constantly get crap from people all the time. My heart goes out to you, by the way, even though you don't exist anymore.
Fuck telemarketers.
The human ones? The human ones?
Absolutely. I'm sorry, if you're human, you're still doing it. But I get that you have to work a job. If you get persistent enough to repeatedly call me, I don't care anymore.
No, I understand that part. My mom gets
You want to know where my hatred for
calls
telemarketers comes from?
What?
Some dude screwed up while trying to get health coverage, and he signed up for a bunch of call-in orders for healthcare in Spanish. So for a month, I got 10 or 12 calls a day from automated machines from about 60 or 70 different companies, all trying to sell me healthcare under a name I don't even recognize.
Well, my mom gets calls from this thing called Eavesdrops Cleaning, and she constantly yells at them to take her off the calling list. But I understand that part, but I also feel bad because a lot of these people do not want to do this.
Yeah, it's just a job.
Oh no, of course, everyone has to work a job. Doesn't mean I'm gonna hate you less.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. A guy who tortures prisoners to get information out of them, he has to put food on his family's table as well. The people being tortured aren't gonna fucking care about that, though.
I know.
If you're a dentist, sure, you gotta put food on, but I still hate you.
Yeah, exactly. That's a way better example than I was going for.
Torturers, dentists are basically all the same.
Yeah, when you're a dentist, you get paid for causing people pain.
That's true.
I live in Canada, so maybe I don't understand your pain, but my dentist is wonderful.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe you just brush our teeth.
We got off topic really freaking hard.
What do you mean?
So anyway, and there was also one really funny joke where Ty is trying to call Matt and TK's grandmother, and she's like, "Oh, you're selling ties." No, my name is Ty. I'm looking for your grandchildren. I want to talk to them. Oh, I like to talk to them too.
I'm fully convinced that Grandma fully knew what was going on and she just didn't give a fuck.
The one with the grandma I liked was when the blonde kid was like, the closest thing my grandma has to a computer is a rice cooker.
It was egg timer, but okay.
I don't remember. I feel like there was a bit.
There was probably a rice cooker in the Japanese thing.
No, I think there was a different bit
talking about, even though we're reviewing the English dub.
I feel like there was a different bit with it, or maybe I'm thinking of something else.
No, there are like side plots, like example with Kari trying to go to the party. In the dub, she brings a Power Ranger because Saban also owns Power Rangers. Ha ha. And there's also with Mimi being in Hawaii, which was really funny. Joe studying for a test. Sora with the hair clip, which actually did not have a satisfactory conclusion in the dub. But in the original, she sends an email apologizing at the end.
Oh, is that real?
Yeah.
That would have actually been a lot better.
We can't have a nice ending.
What?
So why would they cut that out? They're just like, we can't have a nice ending to that story.
Well, I think I fully get what they were doing. I agree, that would have been really nice to at least see her typing it, but I don't know. I guess if we're talking about satisfactory endings to that, I guess they want to imply that after she read that, letter that he sent to her, then I think what we're supposed to get from that is that, they made up. Like, she's happy. She realized that she didn't mean to be this mad.
Really? Because in the movie, Kari narrates later on that Sora's still waiting for him to call.
I think
so there goes
what
your
that
theory.
was supposed to imply was that they're dating.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, when you wait for your when you wait for your girlfriend to call, like, wouldn't you be interested to know when she'll?
I don't have a girlfriend.
Well then, okay.
It's getting too real.
I'm talking then hypothetically. When you want your girlfriend to call you, if you had a girlfriend, it's the same fucking thing then.
I've never had a girlfriend actually. I've never been that fortunate. But okay.
It was a hypothetical question.
Also, it kind of feels weird because in Digimon 02, Sora's dating Mad.
I don't know any of these.
Wow, that makes no sense then. Why would she be waiting for him to call?
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, you just completely stomped out my argument. Thanks.
I don't know anyone who's dating anyone.
You're welcome.
I mean, like, it's fine. Like, that,
I don't know the
if
ships.
that's real, then that makes no sense. Why she's still waiting for him to call?
Yeah.
I don't know the ships.
By the way, there are a lot of fart and poop jokes in this movie.
Oh yeah. In the first bit.
And those were not dub inclusions. Those were in the original.
Well, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what? That doesn't surprise me. If you ever read a gag manga, then you fully understand how there's a lot of different types of jokes that get used a lot that we do not look upon very lightly here in the U.S. Poop and fart jokes are just the tip of the iceberg of that.
Nothing's wrong with good fart jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's used
If it's done well. If it's done
If it's
well.
What Lee's exactly right. If it's done well, then it's awesome.
Like, the fart joke in Finding Nemo was great, but, like, you gotta be careful with certain fart jokes, because they can be cheap and lazy.
Topic! We keep doing
I'm
this.
sorry,
We keep
I'm
doing
sorry.
this. Alright, back to part 2. Like, I guess really there isn't much to say, because we all agree we like it. We all keep getting off topic because we like it.
I don't like it. It's
Okay, why do you think
but
it's
the least
I mean, by the standards of this
so
movie,
like
I liked it.
By the standards of this movie and by the standards of Digimon shorts in general, it's good. But again, it feels like there isn't a lot here. The action is nice. The fact that they knew they knocked out Patamon so that they could get rid of that convenient loophole because Patamon is an OP character.
Absolutely, yeah.
That was cool. The animation is nice. The emotional part is really cool. But as a whole, the segment itself feels like a beta version of a much better movie.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. The only reason I would say I really enjoyed this as much as I did is because it's sandwiched between two parts that are much more inferior to it.
Yeah.
And in that aspect, it really just makes it look a lot better by comparison. But you're right, like, there are, like, this story has been told better already, like, 10 years later for Summer's War. And it's just... And yes, the action is nice. This is a very nice looking short. Especially near the ending fight when Diaboromon starts just copying himself and it's basically like fighting a whole army. Like, it's really cool.
Yeah.
But you're right, it is just kind of...
And this is also the first introduction to Omnimon.
Yeah, and they did it in the most badass way possible, which is pretty cool.
Right. Can we move on to the next one?
Can we? Because
Yeah, can
I'm
we?
ready. Okay, you said,
salty,
Whitley. I'm really glad you said this. You said that there wasn't much there, so it was eh. Here's my argument to that. Part 3, they had plenty to work with, and this is the result. Aren't you glad they kept it simple for part 2?
It is a disaster.
Yeah, I know. I'm not denying that, but I'm gonna say before like we really talk about the third segment that I've seen the original segment and it is boring. It's 40 minutes that embodies everything wrong with Digimon 02. It's slow, the action goes on forever, you're not explained anything, the characters are annoying. I actually think, as controversial as this is, that the Digimon the movie improved on it by cutting out a lot of the unnecessary crap.
Okay, here I have never seen the Japanese. I've mentioned this a couple times. Here's all I can say about this. Having seen the English dub version, this is the worst edited movie I have ever seen at this point.
Oh, it's definitely horribly edited, but
No. This is just a chopped up mess. Where everything is just rearranged, nothing is properly shown. Fight scenes are terrible, especially because they never even show hits connecting. They just show, wah! And then the villain goes, yeah! And then there's just boom, boom in the side of mountains. You're like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
And then, shall we bring up the crying? Oh, well, you know what? Before we bring up anything else, let's give a quick plot synopsis.
I'll do it this
Go
time.
for it.
4 years after the events of our war games, TK, Kari, Davis, Yoli, and Cody. Oh, by the way, Yoli and Rio are in our war games.
Oh yeah, but that's like, they're watching that, but like the whole world's watching it, so you could imply like, it's not nearly as interesting as like the beginning thing where it's like, all 7 Digidestin saw this same thing on their street. It's like, well, every single person in the world was watching Omnimon fight Diaboromon. Yeah. Why would it matter that these 3 kids saw it in place of everyone else? It's not nearly as compelling.
So anyway, getting back to what I was saying. They're on Kari and TK are in New York taking pictures. According to Kari, they're doing it despite Davis.
Also, I'm sorry, I know you're describing the plot. Were they taking pictures by hanging a laptop off like a street post?
I think
that's
so.
Fucking.
What?
That's so hipster. Before
I didn't
hipster
catch
even
that.
existed.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
That's Spider-Man. That's Spider-Man shit right there.
God, that's so hipster. I'm sorry. Continue now.
So anyway, they end up seeing this kid named Willis, who in the original was named Wallace, and Digimon Terriermon fighting off another bigger Digimon who he calls Cocomon. Yes, in the original it's called Chocolatmon or Chalkmon, so it's not
the English
that
name is
bizarre.
Wadingomon.
Well, no, but like the original rookie that was called Chalkmon.
Okay.
And he keeps telling them to go back. So initially Willis is like, I'm doing this on my own, don't bother me. And then Terriermon says to him, well, you can't hide the truth from them. They're going to find out eventually, and it's better to work as a team. So it turned out that 4 years prior, by this movie's continuity, one of Willis's Digimon was taken captive by the remains of Diaboromon. And he'd been corrupted, and he wanted to go back to the beginning to fix the mess. So eventually, Kari decides to call in the other kids, Yoli, Cody, and Davis, and they come, and then the rest of it is just them fighting.
So everyone's trying to get. By the way, what they imply that to mean is go back to the beginning. To Willis means go back to Colorado. So that's what the movie is. Just all the Digidestin trying to go from. I guess they're in Japan, except for Kari and TK. All the way to Colorado.
Right.
Which actually, now that I think about it, I'm trying to figure out, like, on the map in my brain whether... You know, it doesn't matter.
They took a train.
Yeah.
They walked there.
Yeah, basically.
From Japan to Colorado.
They flew.
Then they took a truck. And apparently Yoli has about 13 uncles who can do all this.
Yeah. Well, it's implied in the show that she has a big family, so it wouldn't be surprising.
Alright, yeah.
It is a bit of a stretch. Like, 13 uncles? I mean, that's a lot.
Well, that was
usually
an
in a big
exaggeration. They only list about 3.
I know, but like usually in a big family, you have boys and girls. So I'm kind of skeptical about that. But
I just found it funny that she kept using "I've got an uncle, I've got an uncle, I've got an uncle" as an excuse.
I mean, it is a good example of her character because she is fast and resourceful. But it also kind of seems like a stretch. Speaking of which, there are some parts in the fight that kind of don't add up. Like, it is nice to see Angemon.
I still don't get a time travel.
Again, I bring this back to the editing. Every fight in this movie is edited terribly. Like, okay, you want to know one of my favorite parts? There's a scene where Terriermon is flying Vmon, and it's like, oh, they're going to do some combo attack, and Davis is being all goofy. And they slam into a billboard, but then it zooms down to them, and it's Demi Vmon again. So this obviously happened.
That was in the original.
What? Are you serious? God damn it! Not even the Japanese version had good editing.
Like I told you, I think this part is actually an improvement from the Japanese. If you don't believe me, watch the original Japanese short and tell me it's not an improvement.
Why would I watch the original Japanese short when nothing about this movie I really liked, except, the action and war games? But I mean, that's just like one small thing.
Consider it a curiosity project.
I've got way too many actual projects for curiosity ones.
But anyway, there are parts about the fight that don't add up aside from the editing. Like, for example, it is nice to see Seraphimon and Magnadramon because you never see them prior.
And they do nothing! They do...
But they do it to release the golden Digi.
They're 2 mega-level angels! There's no...
They can fight on their own!
Yeah!
I have no idea what any of this means.
Okay, it was the dude. It was Angemon, the dude with like 6 angel wings and stuff that appeared like as a Deus Ex Machina. It's that dude, and then the cat that turned into a woman that turned back into like a dragon cat.
Of course.
That's who we're talking about.
Digimon's weird.
Basically, the 2 strongest megas in the entire canon. They released these eggs that allowed special mega golden evolutions for Vmon and for Terriermon.
By the way,
which is actually,
I'm sorry, let me interrupt for 1 second. Whitley's absolutely right. They are the strongest. Because you know why? Because Angemon has been proven to take down Digimon that are infinitely stronger than him. And Magna Angemon, his evolution in the show, has been able to take down a Mega in, I think 1 or 2 hits. So there's no reason that these 2 Megas should not have been able to just do it. They should have been the finishing blow. There's no reason the Digi-Eggs even need to come into this, except we need to sell more toys!
Of course.
Well, it doesn't even make sense because if you look in the 3rd season, Rapidmon is a golden armored Digivolution, but in the 3rd season, he's Terriermon's ultimate form.
I think what the deal with that was they didn't fully plan out the Terriermon evolution line until after this movie came out or after the short was made.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's also there is some element of tragedy. Like in the original, Kokomon, I'm gonna call him Kokomon, was infected by sadness, and then this one he was infected by a virus. It's actually interesting because I know that in the 4th season again, the 4th season Digimon, the same character was also infected and ended up dying a tragic death. So it's nice to see that there's consistency there, that this character is forever cursed. There's subtext there if you want to read into it, but in terms of how it's executed in film, it's not well done at all.
No, it's not.
I know it's kind of weird because I was for a few years I was the Digimon nut. I still am to some extent.
Oh, I still love Digimon.
But I know a lot of
this.
No, I actually researched a lot of the stuff on the Wikias and looking online for different continuities and fan theories. But I do think that there's a nice continuity there with Kokomon being corrupted.
It is. That's right. Kokomon's final evolution, Cherrymon, the evil version, that was the villain for season 4, wasn't it?
The first one.
Yeah, the first villain. I forgot all about that, but you're right.
Ultimately, the short, I'm also going to say this much. The short, even though the short is a step down in terms of animation quality from the first 2 shorts, it still looks better than a lot of future Digimon short films. like future Digimon short films after the fourth one.
The only one I ever saw was the one where there was a parasite on a runaway train.
Yeah, so that was a later one, but basically there's like slightly souped up versions of the show's animation. This one has its own individual style, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks filmic.
Yeah, like the editing did kind of hurt the fights, but everything was still pretty well animated.
Yeah. It did look okay. I mean, like, there was nothing I can really point at and say, this looked terrible, but I mean, just like, it really was just terrible dub writing and editing that really just pulled attention away from everything good and bad about this.
Yeah, and Davis is crying.
Oh, no, let me fully walk the audience through what happened during this scene. Okay. So Willis is telling his whole backstory, which we've already heard, like, I think 2 times in this film. If not just fully outstated, we've seen it happen, like, twice in the film already. And then it's like, Willis is like all happy, he's cheering, hey, come on, dude, we're all the Digi-Destined, we can do this. And then he tells the backstory, and then Davis walks away, and it shows a scene of him crying, like, that's the saddest thing I ever heard. And then Willis just walks over, and I'm going scene by scene.
He's like, I'm the one with the problem.
I'm going scene by scene
I'm the
here.
one with the problem, not
Willis
you.
walks over, is like, hey, you don't need to be sad. And then it cuts to another scene where Willis turns around and he stopped crying. It's like, okay. And it's like...
And he said, you recovered fast.
It's so clearly chopped up. It's so clearly just a hackney job.
It is hilarious.
It's terrible. And then I think
like
the
laughing.
scene right after is like, final fight. Boom! We're in it.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And it's just like...
And then it ends...
There are clearly scenes throughout the final fight that are just taken out of order because they need to break it up somehow. Like, when they Mega Digivolve, there's a scene where Gatomon's walking, and it feels like this is where this scene was supposed to go before they Mega Digivolved, but they were just like, isn't this the coolest thing you ever seen? And it's just like...
Yeah, it's a fourth wall break.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
And I remember, like, I actually think back to one of the reviews I saw for the movie, and I remember his response was, like, verbatim, I've seen cooler.
Yeah.
And then it ends with they finally find the virus inside of Kokomon. I'm gonna keep calling him Kokomon.
Yeah, go for it.
Deal with it, and they finally cure him.
Oh, by the way,
and he thanks Willis.
About that, once again, speaking to the quality of this dub writing, they go inside with the mission to destroy the virus, and then they see Kokomon, and he's like, he's trying to tell us how to cure him. Destroy! We have to destroy the virus. What do you think you're doing in there?
Thank goodness you let him know.
I totally just smacked my forehead, by the way. I don't know if you heard that, but ow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, but before that, no, I have another moment of great dub writing and editing working together to make something stupid. So, Magnamon talks to Rapidmon saying, we have to get inside him. He's going to keep healing his wounds. Follow my lead. All of this is being said over a very obvious scene where, completely unplanned, Kokomon eats them.
Uh-huh.
That was hysterical. Like, I was laughing so hard at that, because it's so obvious they needed a reason for them to go inside of him, and they just kind of slapdash that over a scene that contextually makes no sense.
So anyway, the ending happens, like, Kokomon thanks Willis and disappears. David says, like, Digimon don't really die, they're just reborn as eggs. And then Kari narrates, like, Willis learned about the value of teamwork. They just also realized that Digimon don't really die, they just reborn with a different tune. And they have Kokomon.
Smash Mouth before Smash Mouth became popular through Shrek.
Yeah.
6 months prior, by the way.
I hated that scene so much. I was dying.
And he's like, he's tone deaf.
And again, they cut this. They either cut this from the fight where Davis smashed into the billboard, or they cut this from the beginning of the final fight, because there's no way that was actually at the fucking end of the Japanese short. And it...
No, in the original Japanese short, I should actually give some context on the original Japanese short. In the original Japanese short, the reason why the older Digidestined were not there is because Kokomon had trapped them in some kind of time parallel dimension. And when Willis tried to confront Kokomon, he started dancing, like, mocking them, so that's where it came from.
Are you... so it was from a scene they just completely cut from the movie, in other words.
And then the credits roll, and you hear the song Kids from America. And this was the first time I'd ever heard this song.
I heard it for the first time.
But wait, how does...
It was still as terrible. Okay, but here's the thing now. you're right, and I didn't even question this at the time, but they're already playing All-Star by Smash Mouth, and they've made a whole joke out of it. Why did they play Kids in America for the credit? I give up. This movie sucks.
Okay,
We're at the credits.
I have a question, actually.
We've gone as far as we can.
Whitley.
What was
How
that?
does the original movie end?
The original movie? I don't remember. I kind of tuned out after a while. Like,
The whole time
Like,
you're like,
you know
in
what?
the Japanese dub, in the Japanese dub, or the Japanese sub.
'Cause-
It's like, okay, well, how does it finally end? We finally ask you an actual question about the Japanese sub. It's the thing you don't remember.
you know why?
Why? 'Cause you said it
The
was
Japanese, I strained to pay attention. The original short was in Japanese was 65 minutes long. It was so damn boring. There are parts of it I remember because they were so weird, but it dragged on that I eventually just zoned out.
I give up. What's your final thoughts,
Like they
everyone?
actually had an intermission halfway through the short because that's how long it was.
I'm giving up. I'm throwing in the towel for us. Final thoughts. David, you start.
There were parts I liked, especially with the second short and kind of with the first short, but as a whole it was just very slapdash and like sloppily put together, and like the editing and dub choices were really hilariously bad at times. I'd probably... are we doing like a score?
We
have to do a score.
Oh, do we have to?
Yeah, we
That's
do
where
because
like
Dark
10.
Dark instituted that.
Fine.
Like out of 10?
Yeah.
I'd give it like
Yeah.
a 4 probably.
Do you want to go, Whitley? You can go.
Digimon the Movie is like watching to use a line from the movie itself, like watching your Uncle Fred at Thanksgiving getting plastered and having a huge tantrum in the middle of all the guests. It's embarrassing, it's insulting, it destroys the moment, but for some reason you look back on it and you're like, that was funny. There are parts of the movie that shine. The animation looks great. There are some funny lines. It is entertaining at times, but as a whole, it is a slapdash mess of what it could have been. I really would have been interested to see the original 3 shorts in their entirety in English, because the original 3 shorts, while not great, well, even the third one is just terrible. The first 2 are not great, but they're so much better than this. And I do kind of enjoy this more than the Pokemon movies, because because of like personal bias, but as a whole, and it looks better, but as a whole, it's just not that great. I give it like a 3.5 or a 4.
Third Pokemon movie is way better than this.
I'm sure it is, but the first 2 Pokemon movies are boring beyond belief.
I like those for nostalgia, but I won't really defend them.
I like this for nostalgia.
I'll defend
too.
the third one though.
Alright, my final thoughts. The dub is a horrible joke. The editing is terrible, especially toward the end. Yeah, I really... Those were such glaring problems, like, I could really not focus on anything else in this film. The animation looked nice. I mean, it wasn't enough that I couldn't enjoy it, but, I mean... I just really did not like this movie for the reasons I've listed. And I would honestly go lower than you guys. I'd say a 3 out of 10. This was terrible.
So that's 15 out of 30.
Where'd you get 15? I got 4, 8,
No,
11.
No, that's sorry, 11 out of 30.
Yeah. Oh,
So that's
I have to
like
divide. Hang on.
that's like a 5.5 out of 10.
No, it's lower than that, because 5 would be 15 out of 30.
Sorry, divide. I'm really
Basic
bad
math!
Let's do the math
apologies, everyone.
podcast.
Basic math. Stephanie, just cut to
it's-
when we actually finally have the score, please.
Make us look
I'm
smart.
doing
Wait,
long
this-
division right now.
Hey, what's...
with. By the way, just as a side note, I want to point out I actually like this movie more than our last 2 movies that we discussed,
What were the last 2 ones? Steam Boy and...
and Tales from Earthsea.
I haven't seen either of those, so I don't know.
Walt, you got the score yet?
Rounding up, it's 3 out of 10.
Okay, 3 out of 10.
We did math. We did it.
Yeah, I was just like, I got a remainder of 8, and I'm like, you know what, that's close enough to 3, so fuck it. Alright, so, 3
Nice.
out of 10, this movie is fucking terrible. Everyone knew this coming into watching this podcast. All I want to say is, hey, we're going to talk about, oh god, when is this coming out? Oh, this is coming out like the week before Halloween. Be sure to watch Rainy Day Reading, because we're going to cover a bunch of cool horror manga. It's going to be awesome.
And I might cover another horror thing.
Watch Summer Wars.
Yeah, it's a much better version of this movie. Watch Summer Wars.
Even though Summer Wars is also like my least favorite Hosoda's big 3 movies.
I have only seen The Girl Left Through Time, and I thought Summer's War was much better than that. So
Watch Wolf
I
Children.
keep wanting to say Summoner's War, and it's I'm fucking.
Watch Wolf Children.
I need
it's
to
really,
watch
really
Wolf
good.
Children.
That one's the best.
All right.
It is
Anyone
the
else
best.
got anything they need to plug?
I hopefully will have something out. By the way, like, there's a time of recording this. A week went by. For the first week went by that I didn't have a single post up in like 6 months or 7 months.
So in other words, you finally took a needed break.
No, something's coming up in really shortly from when I'm seeing 2 things in a row actually.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad.
But hopefully by the time we're out, I'll have more stuff up again. It's just that I was at camp and camp was exhausting, so I didn't have as much time to write as I wanted to.
All right. David, anything to plug?
No, I'm good.
All right, then. So, to end this, play me out, Bare Naked Ladies. It's been
clap.
1 week since you looked at me. Cocked your head to the side and sounded angry. 5 days since you laughed at me, saying, get back together, come back and see me. 3 days since the living room, I
not as
realized
good
it's
as
all my
Smash
fault,
Mouth,
but couldn't
though.
tell you. Yesterday, you've forgiven me, but it'll still be 2 days till I say I'm sorry.